Well, this is not the ending that we hoped for when we went out for the test drive. Rear end's out again, and we've got some more work. I think we're all right. Yeah, she's in the house. Huh? Yeah. Brakes are okay. Amazing how low to the ground this thing is. You have 2-inch drop spindles, right? The brakes feel good. Yeah. Just a little bit, yeah.
Those kids seemed like they liked the car.
What's that?
Those kids seemed like they liked the car.
Yeah. I think that cam change that you did when you got rid of the stock ZZ4 cam and put that comp cam, wasn't that a roller cam that you put in it? A hydraulic roller? Yeah.
Bumpy.
Oh, that's normal.
No, not when you're trying to film.
I just wish this squeak wouldn't do that. I think the Posi's skipping a little bit. Definitely wants to go. The gear change, you can definitely feel it. I think the thing that's different in this one versus all mine is the steering just feels so loosey-goosey. I mean, I know the stock steering boxes are pretty loose, but
Do you think you could hold my popsicle for me? Please, thank you.
a little bit of a vibration, but
I don't think the window rolls down.
no, that's fine. No, it's gone inside already. Oh, that's all right. Huh? What's that? Oh, he did? I didn't.
Hey guys, Jeff here at Hubie's Garage. Actually, we're at Howie's Garage today. Yeah, we're just a little bit of a follow-up to the hardtop, the 411 Posi that we put back into Howie's hardtop, my dad's hardtop. This is hot rodding. Not everything is perfect. Not everything works every time. So we had a little issue. Went out and did a test drive with the car, and started having the rear axle bind up again. Basically, it was skipping and acting like it was a spool when you'd go around the corners. So brought it back into Howie's Garage here. We basically took the axles out and found some metal shavings in the axle tubes. So real fine, just almost like a glitter. So one of the things that I had noticed when I took it apart, or when we were putting it back together, there were some pictures that I took, and I'll have to add some stills into this video. Probably add it right about here. Okay guys, I'm under my Del Rey, and this is what a stock axle looks like. You can see, let's see if I can reach it here with the flashlight. You can see the tapered ends on the ends of the splines. And then on the other axle here, you could actually see the little hole, the tapered hole, where the axle was chucked up in the lathe. So that's what a stock one looks like. We're going to try to shorten that taper. So we'll show you here in a second. All right, so looking in the rear end housing, you can see a little bit of metal shavings here that are in the bottom of the banjo. Obviously we still have some more oil to get out of this. If this were a 57 housing, we'd undo the drain plug at the bottom, but this is a 55, 56 housing, so no drain plug. But metal shavings, we believe, came off the clutch pack. So we'll get it cleaned up and get the third member over to J&S. Have them go through it one more time, and we're going to grind the crud out of those axles. Basically make sure that the bevels were completely taken off. I've done these axles before on my other cars that I've put Posis in, and really I should have known better to really check it, because that was part of the problem that we initially had with the 411 when we put it in the first time, and it started doing the same thing or similar. All right, so here is an axle that has been ground down. You can see it's not perfectly straight, but it has had the tapered ends of the splines ground off, which is roughly about 1/8 of an inch. You can see, let's see on this one, you can get it to focus in there. This one still has the tapers in it, just like the one under the Del Rey. And it has been ground a little bit, but as you'll probably see, it's not enough. Here's one that's been ground down a little bit more to get that 1/8 inch ground off the axle. So I'll go through and take a file and clean up the ends of the splines on this one, and then I'll show you how this one's ground down with just your basic bench grinder. All right, so I just got a real cheesy little pallet that I put a sheet of plywood over, and I've got my my little cheapy Harbor Freight tire machine on, and then if I need the bench grinder, I could mount that on the pallet also. It does a pretty good job of holding everything in place. I just have never drilled holes in any of my concrete at our house here. Don't really want to do it now because we're probably going to be looking at moving in a couple of years, and I just don't want to go drilling up the concrete yet. So this was just kind of a quick, easy way to do this. And also got my safety glasses. These are some special safety glasses. They're sunglasses, as well as they have some, I don't know if you could see them, but they got my prescription in them. So cheapy Amazon hack, and you've got safety glasses that work great and save and protect your eyes. All right, let's get going. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this up against the side of the wheel of the bench grinder. Just have to hold it real steady. It's not a real rocket science. You just have to just put it up against the flat side of the wheel and take some off. We'll clean it up when we're done, but this is going to get that 1/8 inch and take the taper off of the axle spline. So here we go. So it basically just took that taper off of the splines. So I'll go through with a file and clean that up. It's not perfectly flat, but I might be able to do a little bit more to make it flat. It's really not any big deal, just as long as you just get that 1/8 inch taper off of the axle. May have taken a little bit more off of the passenger side than I did the driver's side, because you can see the hole is the taper of the hole is a lot smaller, and the shorter driver's side axle has a little bit of a bigger hole where the taper is. And you can see it's not perfectly flat. There's a little spot there. But that's basically what you need to do. Just get that tapered edge off of the splines, then go through and clean it up with the file. I'll do that here in a second, and then it'll be ready to go in with your stock 55 to 57 or 55 to 64 for that matter rear axle that's now been converted to a posi traction. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and try to clean up these splines a little bit, just right at the grinding face of where we ground on the ends of the splines. You could use, gosh, just about anything for this. You could even get in some of the smaller points files if you wanted to use these. It doesn't take much to clean them up. I've just got a smaller old crappy half round, and you can just flip the sides and just trying to hold the camera and do this. Just give it a couple of laps on each one, and that'll clean the burrs, some of the edges off. So you get the basic idea there. All right, guys, pulling into J&S Gear. It's a great little place. Always have a bunch of cars here. Gonna get the 411 Posi looked at for the 55 hardtop. All right. This is J&S Gear here in Huntington Beach. Just about a city away from where I'm at. And they got another 55 in the shop. Bel Air two-door sedan.
We don't build until everybody's got different gear ratios.
Oh yeah, just wait till people call you and say that they need one. So this looks, yeah, is that just half-ton Chevy?
This is going in a Dodge Polaris.
Oh wow, that's a nice setup. Yeah, huh.
What?
Right here. This is 57, just like Mom's. But Mom's was black and white. All right. Well, had some problems with the Posi, as you well know. We're not dealing with the 4 Series carrier anymore. After the 3rd rebuild, just decided that instead of continuing to pour money into a carrier that had obvious problems, we couldn't sort it out, took it to J&S Gear for the 3rd rebuild. They went through it, looked at it, and figured out that 4 Series carrier that we had was just, well, it was just worn out. The clutch plates, everything inside, nothing was moving freely. Everything was binding up, locking up. So we made the decision to just go ahead and order a new Auburn Posi, and they carry those. They're somewhat relatively still easy to get. It's not an Eaton. I would have wanted an Eaton, but the Auburns are out there. They're not bad. They're available. We ended up just replacing everything. Ended up doing a new gear set, a new set of 411 gears, a new bearing kit, new crush sleeve, set the lash, did all that stuff. This is something that I've always had friends do over the years. A good friend of mine did the first one on this one, and we weren't real sure what was going on with it. We decided to have a second set of eyes look at it, and like I say, ended up that the carrier was just worn out. And I would like to take one apart, figure out what worn out looks like, but I also didn't want to bring the parts home because we've put so much time and effort and money into the other one that I didn't even want to get any parts mixed up with one in the future. So we just left that whole 4 Series back with them, and I'm sure it's probably in the trash or in the scrap metal pile. As we've been told, they do wear out and they aren't rebuildable. Apparently that was one. So we're back with a new one. Going to start over, upward and onward, and we'll get this thing back in and see how she goes. All right, with the 3rd member out, the axle's out. We had some metal shavings from the clutch pack. Gonna wash everything out real good with some brake clean, wash it all down to the center of the pumpkin of the banjo housing, and then wipe it out real good, and then we'll put everything back together like we did before. So a lot of this stuff inside the axle tube, if you've ever used valve lapping compound, the grease with the sand in it, that's what it looks like in there. Basically looks like kind of a sandy, gritty metal shavings have mixed with the gear oil, made it almost like a grease, but that's what it looks like. It looks like a valve lapping compound. So we'll get some brake clean in there, loosen it up, maybe run some towels through it, and get the tubes cleaned up, and then wipe everything out, hopefully at the bottom of the banjo, the bottom of where the pumpkin would be when we're all done. really had to quite do it this way, but it's pretty bad inside the axle tubes. I mean, there is grit and metal shavings and everything all inside this tube. And I'm definitely not putting this thing back together with all the shavings in there. I mean, you can see what's coming off of this. So we're going to get this thing nice and clean. And basically, I got an old wood dowel with a rag on the end of it. And that's what we're going to end up having to do. So better safe than sorry. I don't want to put all this crap back into a brand new carrier. So you can see it just zip tied a rag on there, all the crud that's coming off and coming out of the axle tubes. So a little bit more scrubbing, but yeah, you definitely don't want that going in there. So it definitely pays to spend the time when you got it apart to clean it out and do it right. But it's much cleaner. I think most of it's all gone. I give it one final spray, and then this side will be done. I'll go do the other side, and then get the inside of the banjo cleaned out, and then we should be ready to start putting it back together. Okay, well, I think I've gotten it cleaned out about as much as I can. There's, sorry about the shadow, but there's still a little bit of glitters here and there. Really, I've done everything that I can. I've sprayed it out 3 or 4 times with the brake clean and wiped it out. I think it's pretty good. So we'll probably be ready to go ahead and put things back together. One other additional follow-up to the earlier video when we put the Posi in for the first time. We had run into issues with Chinese brake parts, and we actually have a company here, an old school, old-time company. It's been here since the 40s in Long Beach, and they reline brake shoes. When we got the shoes back from them, we noticed that the front shoe was just as much lining on it as the rear. And one of the other things that they do is they also do arc the shoes to the drum so that the shoe fits inside the drum perfectly. It's the same arc as the drum, and you get all the lining touching the drum. Didn't pay the extra bucks for that. Probably could have, but I was assured by them that the lining is fine. That as much lining is in the front being on the back, or vice versa, that the shoes will work fine. They're not going to drag. They're not going to do any of that stuff. That's just an update on the brake shoes and having them relined. Kind of glad that we did that, because I did get an extra set of brake shoes later that came in that were from China, and they didn't look real quality to me. So these guys have been doing them for years, and they look great. Okay, got the axles torqued down, the carriers torqued down, the drive shaft's back on, U-bolts are torqued down, brake drums are back on. We're going to go ahead and put the wheels on, torque the wheels down, put some oil as well as the Posi additive into the rear end, and then we'll go take it for a test drive. All right, now everything's put back together. Let's do a cold start. It's been a while. I was thinking that the battery was disconnected because there's no... dash with all the chrome. Always like that. I think the gypsy red in the chrome has always been another good one. You guys will get to see that with my Bel Air two-door sedan. Bad throttle pump. So, I mean, these things are super easy to go through and repair, but you know, it has been sitting for a long time.
been a show down here somewhere. Oh, you know what it was? There was a big lowrider show in Hawaiian Gardens. I don't know where it was at, but it was somewhere in town here.
You guys like the car?
Yeah, it's doing fine.
What do you think of it, Grandpa?
Well, I've always loved this car.
Huh?
I've always loved this car.
Oh yeah.
1964.
It's a pretty cozy car.
Well, it's so another pretty nice. Truck and a 54, 60 and a 60 and 62.
That was a jerk.
Like a 36. Boy, that's a is that a 37 Buick? Oh, it's a 37 Buick. Split exhaust 6-cylinder. Another one. This must be some park down there or something.
There's a banner up there.
Yeah, there it is, the 18th annual car show. It's got a 61 Chevy on it, lowrider, so. All right, we're gonna do some figure eights just to kind of slosh the gear oil and the gear additive around, so. Just something to kind of make the Posi work.
It's jerking a lot.
Yep. That's what we want to do. Make sure that the clutch plates in there get lubricated real well. It's like driving the slalom in the fire engine.
I'm sure everyone in the church is like, who is this
Well,
person?
this security guard's probably going, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah. Is he in a golf cup?
Yeah.
Is that him?
Yeah. How you doing? Pardon? Yeah, we're just trying to get the oil in the rear axle. It's a new axle.
Beautiful car, man.
Thank you. You too.
It's cool.
Yeah. Most people are pretty nice. You know, if you're not a jerk or you're not, abusing the parking lot.
Well, Austin taught me how to drive in here.
Yeah, I'm sure they get a lot of those. I'm sure we got it worked in pretty good because we went back and forth, but this is right where it broke down just because we were doing some circles here. And then all of a sudden the axle started skipping real bad. And it sounded like two sledgehammers hitting each other. And you got that, right? gear. Never fails.